How can we succeed in our business and our life when bad stuff keeps happening and it feels like it never ends? I'm not going to give you some general feel-good advice that doesn't actually help you. I want this video to actually be really tactical and practical and give you actual steps that you can take to start implementing and start changing your life immediately. I'm not a psychologist or anything, but I've built a multiple six-figure online business and dealt with many struggles along the way, both in my business and in my personal life. I know how you feel. We put so much effort into building something, make a lot of progress. We build something up and then something happens and it feels like another thing happens and then another thing happens. And you'll almost enter these periods of time where it feels like it is just another domino after another and it just won't let up. So how do we get out from under that and continue pushing forward and moving in the right direction and improving both our business and our personal life? So the first and one of the most important things is to stop dwelling on things. Like this literally happened to me the other day. Something happened that I wasn't very happy with, and I was dwelling on it for so long, like days. And I realized that it wasn't even really affecting me anymore, but I was still letting myself be affected by it because I was dragging it out for days. And so I was like, this is crazy. This is so bad. This is not good for my mental. This is not good for my business. This is not good for everything that I'm doing and building and growing right now. And so what I had to do was I had to put a stopping point to what I was dealing with. I had to put a stopping point to those feelings and that mental state of being that I was in, because I was running on a very low cognitive state because I was dealing with these. I wouldn't let go of these things. And so what I did instead was I put a stop to it. And you can do this one of two ways. You can go, okay, I've dealt with this enough right now. I'm putting a stop to it. I'm going cold turkey right now. I am done feeling this. It's a conscious decision. And so you can make it literally right now, or you can allow yourself to feel it for, a little bit longer and then put an end to it. It depends on the situation and it depends on the person. A lot of times I just like doing things cold turkey, but in this certain circumstance, I was allowing myself to feel through that for a little bit longer. And so I was like, all right, I was driving somewhere and I was like, okay, let these feelings go throughout the drive. And then as soon as I get out of the car, that is it, I'm done. And we're moving on. And so what you don't want to do is you don't want to dwell in these things. And the problem is that when you dwell on these things, they will stack up. Because if you're having an issue and you're dealing with something and you're letting it consume you and go for days and days and days, and then you have another something come on, now you have double stress, double anxiety. And then, so once again, when multiple things just seem to keep happening, we have to put an end to them because they're going to stack up and they're going to consume you. The second thing is that sometimes you just need change, and you have to realize that that's okay. As humans, we don't like change. We don't like change because predictability is survival. It is biologically wired into us that, hey, if we know don't go into that dark cave because a bear lives in there and it might kill us, we're not going to go in there. And we know that because it's predictable, because we saw it happen to someone else, right? Whatever that is, it's biologically wired in you. And so we like predictability, we don't like change. What I want to encourage you to do is that if you're in a position to do so, and I would push you to change even if you don't think you need it, because change breeds new energy. Change breeds new life. Change gets you to do things, well, it is change itself. Do things that you would never do, or change your perspective on things. Like a new environment will completely change your perspective on something. Let's say you're dealing with a problem and you're sitting, or I'm in my office right now. You're sitting in there in the office in the studio and you're dealing with a problem and you're trying to figure it out. Guess where I solve a lot of my problems? I solve a lot of my problems at the gym, thinking, when I'm driving, when I am obviously driving thinking, when I am on my daily walk thinking. That's when I get solved a lot of my problems, because we need the change, because we get stuck in our rut. And that's true on a micro scale, of solving a problem on a day-to-day basis, and it's also true on a macro scale. I need a big change in my life right now. There are things that I am working on and building and dealing with, and I need a really big change to help me achieve those things. And so I'm literally moving across the country in 11 days, in a week and a half. And so that is what is needed right now for me in the stage of life that I'm in. I need a complete change. And so I sold most of my stuff. I'm driving 3,000 miles, moving across the country, going from California to Florida, and I need change. And so just understand that sometimes you need that. Sometimes that is the spark that ignites the fire. And sometimes that's what you need, and there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with change. It doesn't matter what people say. It doesn't matter what friends say. It doesn't matter what family says. It doesn't matter where people judge you or people say that your whole life is here. Why are you going? It doesn't matter. It's because that's what you need right now. You need that for your mental health, for your physical health, and for your growth and capability and potential pursuit of the future self that you are trying to be. And so if you need that change, don't let other people hold you back from getting the change that is necessary for you right now. Number 3, disappear and focus on yourself. So many times, other people's problems become our problems, and there is zero need for that. Now, if you are getting paid to solve problems, as in running a business, obviously that's part of the gig. That's part of what you signed up for. But a lot of times in our personal lives, we take on, specifically as entrepreneurs, as business owners, we love solving problems. Like, we're passionate about solving problems. But the problem is that can spill over into our personal life, and we don't separate our business from our personal life very well. And we end up solving everybody's problems and not our own. And so what I want you to be really, really careful of, and something that I have had to work very hard to be careful of, because I am the problem solver. That is what I do. I solve people's problems. It's one of the strongest masculine traits that I have is I am very much a problem solver. Now, I've had to learn to stop caring so much. And that was a big turning point for me, is to stop caring and focus on yourself, disappear if you have to, even for a short period of time, and focus and work on yourself and get the things done that you need to do, whether that's the things that you need to get done in your business but you're distracted by other people's problems, or that's the thing that you need to work on in yourself and you need to be alone, you need quiet, you need peace, you need to be able to think clearly, and other people's problems are distracting you. So whether that's personal or whether that's business, go disappear, focus on yourself, be selfish about it, don't feel bad about it, and stop caring so much what other people think, and stop taking on other people's burdens that are not yours to bear. Now, this point is kind of opposite of what I just talked about, which is making an effort in your relationships. But it's not just all of your relationships. It's your important relationships. It's the people that matter most to you. And by making an effort and putting care into these relationships, I'm not talking about taking on and solving all their problems. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that sometimes you need to put more effort into relationships. Just like a business, just like your own personal life, you need to put health. That's a good example, right? I do a 3 to 4 mile walk every day. Well, I missed the last couple days. It hurt my foot. But I do a 3 to 4 mile walk every day. And I either go to the gym and lift weights, or I fight Muay Thai. So I go one day, back and forth between gym and fighting. So we have to put that time and effort and energy and dedication into our health and into taking care of ourselves. And we also have to put that time, energy, and effort into our businesses. But a lot of times we neglect relationships. And that's been something that I've been really focusing on. As I mentioned, I'm moving across the country, and I have a list of people and a list of groups of people that I need to make sure that I see before I leave. And that is something that was a real mind shift for me. I was like, I have never, ever, ever been this intentional about my relationships before. And it's almost where a cataclysmic event causes you to be incredibly intentional about your relationships. And that was a weird mindset shift for me, was to really understand, wow, there's actually a lot of effort and energy and dedication and time and whatever that goes into relationships, just like your health and just like your business. And so I feel that as entrepreneurs, we are super focused on the things that I just mentioned of personal development and our business. But we get neglectful about our relationships. And so it only took me moving across the country to realize this and to understand this. So I've been like completely flipped the last, I don't know, couple weeks, month or so. And I'm just like spending tons of time with everybody that I can. And I'm barely like, now my business and my health is getting a little bit neglected. But it's just for, a couple weeks. It's just for a short season. Then it'll go back to normal. But I want you to consider right now, what are the relationships that you have, and maybe the ones that you had in the past that were ruined or need to be patched up because you didn't dedicate time, energy, and effort into this. And if you do, relationships for humans is an essential part of being happy and enjoying life. And so if we neglect that, we're going to neglect a huge part of the human experience, and you are going to suffer in other parts of your life because you're going to feel imbalanced, and then also going to be lacking in your business and your personal because something else is going to be off. And the last thing here is to stop focusing on things that you cannot control. I tell this to my clients all the time. I say focus on the inputs, don't focus on the outputs, because the outputs is the money, the Stripe screenshots, the amount of clients, the views that you're getting on videos. Like, you can't control any of that. Sure, you can influence it by working harder to, make some extra money, but you can't control the exact amount of money you're going to make. We can't control the outputs, but we can control the inputs. We can control what we are doing in order to progress, but we can't control the amount that we're going to progress. So when we put our expectations and we have high expectations for the outputs, that's when we start getting upset and uncertain and worried and not enjoying life. And we're focused on the outputs of, I didn't make the money that I want to make. That means I just need to work harder. And then we neglect our relationships. We neglect our physical health. It's just a spiral downwards. Instead, if we focused on our inputs, which we can control, we just focused on putting out the content, on making the new ads, on filming the YouTube videos, on having that meeting with the potential business partner, on whatever that is. If we focused on those inputs, and we know that those inputs are going to lead to outputs, we just don't know the amount of the outputs, that's where we can really start to let go and release all of the negative things that come with relying and having high expectations on the outputs. So I want you to think of right now, how can you focus on the inputs, and what inputs are you going to focus on right now? So if you like content like this, where I talk about my lessons and experiences from growing a multiple six-figure online business, and I definitely get into psychology and natural health and all of that good stuff too. So if you like that, my goal is to be putting out daily YouTube videos right now. That is the inputs that I am focused on. So make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of those videos, and I will see you tomorrow.